Yeah, we're just trying to throw out those boxes. Corporate, site, gay, straight, woman, man. We're just construction workers.
Like I was exhausted, like mentally, physically, everything. Like it was just breaking me.
Do not pick your career from a Google search about how much that profession makes.
Are people saying that to your face?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to NAWIC Couch. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ally. My background is, it's a long one in construction. So I started out doing carpentry.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, was shipbuilding. So I worked on the ships for a little while. I did some glass making. And then I decided I really wanted to get an apprenticeship. So I called over 100 carpentry businesses to try and get my apprenticeship. And I finally got my foot in the door. It wasn't exactly what I expected it to be, which we can touch on in a little. I then had another opportunity, which also wasn't what I expected. And then I found Daisy, and here we are. That was the best thing I ever did, restarting my apprenticeship and doing 8 years.
You're an apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it normally 4 years?
Yes. Yeah,
You're not shaming, but...
Yeah. So I did over 3 in carpentry, and then I started again and did another 4 in cabinet making. So
Right. So it was a new apprenticeship. That's
I
just started.
fully restarted again. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
So I'm Daisy. I'm director and founder of number 1 Lady Tradie.
Mm-hmm.
I started as just a typical girl in school, you go to uni kind of thing. So I was looking at civil engineering because I was good at maths at school, and my stepdad at the time said, he was a steel fixer, he said, "Oh, be a civil engineer. You get to boss everyone around and you get paid big money to do it." So I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yep.
Slight tangent. Advice I would give to anyone in high school right now: do not pick your career from a Google search about how much that profession makes.
That is good advice.
That's what I did. Did a year of uni, didn't enjoy it. So then I went to drafting at TAFE, and I really, really enjoyed that. So again, back to uni to do architecture. And I was in my first year of architecture, and everyone I spoke to, especially tradesmen, when I said I was studying architecture, kind of like looked at me and was like, "Oh, architect, like don't be an architect." And I'm like, "Oh, why? What have you got against architects?" Like, they don't know how to build anything. They think it looks all great on paper, but they don't know how to build anything. And I kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I don't want to be one of those architects. So I'm going to learn how to build stuff. And my uncle flips houses. So I was like, I'll go and do some work experience with him. I'll learn how to build a house, and then I'll be sweet. So after about 3 months of doing that, I just enjoyed it too much. I was working part-time at Bunnings. So I quit my Bunnings job. I left university, and I decided to work with him full-time flipping houses. And then after 3 years of doing that, I started number 1 Lady Tradie.
What inspired you to start it?
Women in construction was never anything I ever thought about. I didn't realise, it's a male-dominated field, but I never realised what that actually meant. And the lack of women there are in the industry until I spent my 3 years in it, obviously. And I just remember thinking, like, if I was at high school and I did woodworking or metalworking, I probably would have come to this conclusion a lot sooner, or at least would have looked into it a bit more. But it was just never an option. It was just no one ever sat you down and said, "Oh, have you thought about a trade?" So I wanted to give the opportunity that was given to me to other women. And that was the main goal, the main purpose.
Yep. Do you feel like you would have found your way into trades regardless? Like, do you think this is where you were meant to be?
I definitely think it's where I was meant to be. This is 100% my purpose in life. And yeah, I guess from high school, it's always been this industry. I guess it just took me a little bit to find exactly where in the industry. But yeah, I feel like I definitely would have always ended up here.
It's definitely a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Ally, in an article, when you brought it up before, you were quoted saying, after cold calling 120 to 130 carpentry companies, I got an apprenticeship. So I'd like to know, what was that like, and what was your relationship like with rejection?
What I actually did, so I was working in a place that paid really, really well. And I decided to quit that job and get the crappiest job I could find, so that it gave me the motivation to keep persisting with it. Because I knew that if I'd stayed at that other job, I would have just been buried there. Like, I would have stayed there forever. And I couldn't do that to myself. So, yeah, I guess I started and nope, they heard my voice in the phone. They're like, yep, no, like they wouldn't say no, but you knew why. And so, yeah, I'm just really stubborn. And I kept calling, and I got my foot in the door with one particular man who I won't name or anything. And he, took me for a real ride. Had me like herding goats and doing crazy things, and it just wasn't what I was getting paid apprentice wages for. So I found another opportunity, and they were great. They really were great. But I guess I got to a point where I was sick of having to prove myself every second of every single day and literally break my back to just prove that I was worthy of being there and doing the same job. And I couldn't anymore. Like, I was exhausted, like mentally, physically, everything. Like, it was just breaking me. So I found Daisy, and as much as looking down the barrel of, I've done 3 years and now I've got to restart all over again, like, I would not change that for the world, because we do so much cool stuff now. Like, yeah, we've got our 2 apprentices now, which is so cool. It's we've just recently taken on someone else, which is really, really awesome. And yeah, we can actually help change people's lives,
It is incredible. Congratulations on your new staff members.
Thank you.
Growing the team is exciting.
Yeah.
How did you know it's what you wanted to do? So you clearly had so much passion and so much persistence to be able to keep trying to break into it. How did you know that's what you wanted?
When I worked at ASC, I worked with a bunch of fellas there, and they were awesome. The crew there was just so cool, and they were all about, providing for their families and, just helping their families. And I thought that a trade would really propel me forward into doing that. And I wanted to be that person that could also do it, And I think once we have a little family, like, that'll be something that we'll be able to, do with what we do. So I suppose, I never knew what I really wanted to do when I left school. My high school years were really interesting. And it was really tricky for me with like my alopecia and stuff like that. It was like a really hard time. So yeah, I had no idea. It took me so long.
You've had so many jobs.
I have. I'm like a vampire.
I say, you're either lying about your age or you're immortal, because there's no way one person could have that many jobs in your amount of lifetime. Like,
Which one do you think it is? Look,
I was just never satisfied. Like, when you're doing these dead end jobs, like I just was not satisfied. And it was either like, and now I look at it, I really enjoy the ocean. So marine biology, probably if I had gone to uni, would have been one of the things that I really love. And this here gives me the freedom and the flexibility, and Daisy's passion for it just keeps us propelling forward. And yeah, I live a pretty cool life, with this one by my side. It's awesome.
That is so good to hear. When I read that about you and heard you say it, I just thought you must have known that it was for you, and you just weren't going to take no for an answer. You just pushed in, and really respect that.
Thank you. I did push in, didn't I?
In the best way.
Yeah, I tried. I definitely tried.
So your business, number one Lady Tradie, offers premium kitchen and bathroom renovations in SA. And I want to know, what is the origin of the name?
It's actually not very exciting. So obviously Lady Tradie rhymes. And I just thought it was always a really catchy phrase, especially when you think about this industry and you think about who's in it. And then I was registering it and Lady Tradie was already gone. So I was like, damn, I'm going to have to be a little bit creative here. And I went through and I didn't want to limit myself to Adelaide or South Australia. So I thought I'll be number one.
Why not? Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. So that's kind of, that's how it came about.
Did anyone ever discourage you from having Lady in the name?
Not really. And I think it's because that's the point. I wanted people to know what this business was about without ever having to know what this business is about. Like I wanted it to be very, very obvious that this was our goal. This was why we're here. So yeah, I think to me it was very important. And I guess I just didn't really listen to what anyone else said.
That's good. Was everyone in your orbit encouraging of you at the time? Because the business is 8 years old?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be fair, my orbit was pretty small. So, I've got my parents and my family who are just going to support me to do anything really.
Was there anyone who you knew or you saw who was starting businesses and that sort of made you think, oh, I could do that too? Or were you just like, no, this needs to exist and I'm the one to do it?
Again, since high school, I've always wanted to own my own business. So even when I was doing architecture, it was with the goal of having my own firm. So I'm not really sure how or why that came about or why that's been a goal of mine. But yes, it's always something that I've wanted to do.
How do you define your roles within the business?
There's 2 really great terms that we like to use is visionary and integrator. So I come up with the big picture ideas and I'm like, oh, we can do this one day and we can do this and we can do this and we can have all these things. And Ally's like, okay, well, let's just pull it back a little bit here.
One of those things, actually.
Yeah, let's start with this one and then we'll work on that. So, I think Ally and I are incredibly lucky because we make an excellent team. And I think her strengths complement my strengths. And they're completely different. So I think we're obviously both owners, partners, and in charge, and we run it 100% together. But yeah, for instance, I stay away from quoting and invoicing because I'm terrible at it.
And I thrive on that.
Yeah,
I love that. That's
Ally's favourite.
It's my love language.
Like, here's an invoice, pay me.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my biggest challenges when I used to do it by myself. So now I can kind of focus on the parts of the business that I really love, and that's
growing new arms.
Yeah, it's doing stuff like this and kind of promoting it and getting it out there and just sitting around talking about it.
Was Ally the second employee?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So in 2017 when I started, I'd been doing it for maybe 2.5, 3 years by myself. And I got a phone call out of the blue one day and it was Ally. She's like, oh, I'm just ringing to see if you have a job. Like if I could...
Cold calling like I do.
Yeah.
One of your main skills.
Yeah, I'm a carpentry apprentice. Like I want to come work for you, kind of thing. And I remember the day it happened. I remember the conversation we had, and I remember hanging up this phone, thinking like just being so excited because I have this complete stranger who believes in this as much as I do and who wants to come and work with me. And it's not that she wants to do the job that I'm doing or she wants, to be a cabinet maker or whatever, but she wants to come and work at number one Lady Tradie. Mm-hmm. And I just remember that feeling. And it wasn't straight away. It was probably 6 months or so later. We literally, I ring her up again and I'm like, oh, look, like my schedule is pretty hectic at the moment. Like, do you want to catch up for a drink and we'll just meet each other and see how things go, kind of thing. So we went to the pub that night had a ginger beer. She came to work the next day and she's been there ever since.
Never left.
So Ally was number one. And you qualified, was it a year and a half ago now?
Yeah, something like that.
So that was also like a really special moment because that was the first apprentice that number one Lady Tradie had fully put through and qualified. So Ally's been a lot of firsts for number one Lady Tradie, which is very cool.
That is very cool. Your website says, I've stalked you clearly. There are thousands who can't stand what they do. So we're grateful that we can wake up every day and truly say we wouldn't want to be doing anything else. Our vision is to provide an opportunity for women. What opportunities would you like to provide for women?
So be able to rock up and go to work at a place that you really want to be at, you know? You wake up and the people that you work with, like, they don't make you feel like you're not meant to be there. Like, they're with you wholeheartedly, you know, and we try and be those people that make a safe space for other women to come and work with us, you know, and enjoy their day and want to grow and not just be in some sedentary job, you know, like, it's
It's a practical thing in, you know, we want to provide the opportunity to get into apprenticeships, to have jobs, meaningful careers, to work on the tools and then progress even past that. So it's
all leaders.
Yeah, it's about there is such a barrier in just entering this industry, let alone excelling in it. It's all the usual suspects, you know. We're not strong enough.
We get asked like, oh, how do you go about lifting that tile over your head? Like, dude, we lift Mirrorstone bench tops. They weigh more than you do.
Yeah, like, you know, and it's also, especially, you know, young girls, they just don't know. They get thrown every option under the sun except trades, except a construction trade.
Or they get taken in and do 4 years of an apprenticeship and don't learn anything because they're never put in front of the things that they need to learn. They get all the little, you know, piddly stuff, the easy stuff, and then 4 years and they can't find a job after because no one gave them a real shot.
Yeah.
You know? And like, we want to give people a real shot so that they really learn how to do their trade.
Yeah, so it's about providing the opportunity to enter the industry but excel in it, you know, be successful in it, because I think that's just as important as getting your foot in the door.
What structures and systems need to be in place for women to be able to excel in the industry, in your opinion?
So I mean, it starts for us with apprenticeships. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously been a huge boost in that over, especially the last 4 years. Enrollment numbers and stuff are incredible. It's everything that happens after that. So it's easy to get girls to sign up for apprenticeships. It's easy to get them registered with GTOs and get them on board. They want to. The want and the desire is there. It's everything that comes after that. So we've recently obviously put a job ad up, and the amount of people we get contacting us from GTOs or apprenticeship providers saying like, look, I've got this young apprentice. She's in, you know, a second or a third year. She's having a bit of trouble with her hosts. You know, things aren't working out. Is there a position available for her? Mm-hmm. It's, for me, in particular, obviously our tier 1 and our tier 2 companies are doing well because they have quotas. They've got to bring this kind of stuff in. They've got the people and the resources to start addressing the unconscious bias issues and those kinds of things. It's our small businesses. So they make up 99% of our industry, small business, and they are the most under-resourced, time-poor business owners. But yet that's where the opportunities are. That's where people are going to get apprenticeships, and that's where they're going to learn the skills and be able to really step into this industry and move forward in it. But unfortunately, that's where the support just isn't.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And if we're talking to policymakers at the moment, it's like, give the small businesses the resources that they need to support these people to get the skills that they need and be able to carry them through. And that's where you'll see the most difference.
Yeah. So, and it's talking to business owners, and it's starting to create that change of embracing women in your workforce and in your trade. And it's got to be down at the lower levels, because as you know, as we say, like it's grassroots. You've got to build it from the ground up.
Yep.
Anywhere we walk into, we are like looked at, and it's like, what are you doing here? Like, not so much to me, but, you know, to Daisy, like, did your husband send you? Like,
Yeah.
and we're in our boots and dirty clothes and like it's so weird for some of these people to see women doing it, and they make you feel really uncomfortable. And I can only imagine what it's like for a young girl, you know, in that.
Yeah, like we've got obviously a tribe of women within our business that, you know, more often than not, it's the men who are outnumbered on site when it's with us. But we obviously recognise that for almost everyone, that's not the case. Like we've got a really good group and definitely partnership where we can kind of let that bounce off us a little bit and we don't absorb it as much. But I couldn't imagine, well, I mean, I kind of did. Imagine doing it on your own and feeling like you're the only one that this is happening to, or you're the only one that has to deal with it.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's one of those things that there are so many stories out there and so many experiences of people, but everyone feels like it's only ever happened to them in, you know, in not necessarily great things on site or whatever it might be, but it's so important to know that it's not like that everywhere. But also you're not alone in your experience.
absolutely.
Both things are true and both things are really important.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing we found, particularly being from SA, is we have, if not the equal highest amount of women in the construction industry, percentage-wise, throughout all states. But we just feel the least connected. So I know a lot of the other states, they do a lot around networking, around getting together, building that community and that village. And I just feel like SA is a few years behind. And I know NAWIC obviously has just recently started the trade committee, which we're a part of. And we're organising a couple of catch-ups throughout the year this year, which is really exciting because previous to this, like I've been in the industry for 11 years now, and there's just never been any of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think to say that there's the construction industry is separate, I guess, from a lot of other industries, but then within that, there's a separation between maybe corporate jobs and site-based jobs.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would deny that difference exists. I guess, why do you think that is, and how can we start integrating the industry more?
It's tricky because I guess you don't have those two, you know, groups of people collide very often. But I guess, events, you know, that NAWIC put together and things like that can bring people together.
So as I guess the 14% of our industry, which is women, only 3% are tradeswomen on the tools. And, you know, it's exactly like that. We don't, unless you're working in one of the big tiered companies, you're probably the only woman on site a lot of the time. And so there's not, and it's also, we were thinking about it the other day when we were having our kind of committee meeting and thinking like, what are the differences? And it's work times as well. Like, you know, tradies finish earlier. We work all over Adelaide. We don't go to the same office every day. So it's a real separation. And I don't know if it's kind of like another barrier almost, so that it's, you know, because we have, I feel like, a second layer of you're not welcome here or you don't belong here, because it's also you don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't be doing this job, but then you physically can't do this job. So it's even harder to kind of break through all of that.
We're already on the back foot all the time.
Yeah.
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 It is that interaction between more corporate construction people and site-based construction people is something I'm very interested in how we can do better at that. Because, I mean, the challenges are different, like you said. What I find interesting is that when I talk to corporate people, and I'm a corporate person as well, they often don't feel like they belong as much in construction because they're not on site. They're corporate construction, so they're not really in it. So then they feel a bit othered in that way. But then you talk to site-based people and it's like, oh, well, our challenges are that people just think we can't do our jobs and all of this, and we don't feel like we belong in corporate because we're all over the place and don't have a home base. So I love bringing the groups of people together because you just start to empathise a little bit more with the experiences and grow that network and realise that you're all in an industry, you all have a passion for it, you're working towards similar goals, just how you contribute is different, and that is important.
Yeah, because and I know especially in this industry, if you haven't worked on the tools, if you don't have a Cert 3, you don't know what construction is. I feel like there's this pedestal of that certificate 3, that trade. And yeah, absolutely. For women who work in your your corporate roles, your administrative HR kind of roles, of course they're not going to have a Cert 3. So it's almost like they haven't gone through the rite of passage or the initiation into trades, so they're not a proper construction worker kind of thing. So yeah, I 100% feel like that would be something that, and it all comes down to imposter syndrome. It's like you haven't got this one little thing, so you shouldn't be here. But you've got this million of other things that you bring to the table, but just this one little thing, it's like, oh.
Yeah. That's the thing that means that I do.
Yeah.
Daisy, when we caught up, you said to me that people often direct their questions towards Ally instead of towards you. And I want to know why you think that is.
We were actually, again, talking about this, and yeah, 100%. Ally she started with me and she'd been working with me for a few months. We'd walk into a site. The clients would understandably have questions and they'd instantly just look at Ally and start talking. And it would be really funny. They'd ask all this stuff and then Ally would kind of just like turn and look at me, and then I would start responding to the questions. And it probably took 2 or 3 questions for them to realise that I was going to be the one that was answering them, not Ally. And we were talking about, the difference between corporate and site roles. And then you've also got the difference between women who look like me and then women who look like Ally. And then you get treated differently again. So, obviously you have this thing where it's women who look like Ally tend to be more accepted and respected in the industry because they have a more masculine approach to themselves.
Yes, there's another issue there, but yeah.
And then obviously, women who look like myself are completely just written off. But then on the flip side of that, Ally's, obviously gay. So you have all of those issues that come up as well. So
sometimes it can snowball sometimes. Yeah, we're really good at navigating though now. We're pretty good at it.
Yeah. So it's
very tricky because I guess for me, I've been conditioned over long periods of time, in both business and personal life. And people say horrible things all the time, women can't do, they can't be in construction, they can't do a trade, or, just a lot of it based on my sexuality, calling me names. I'm not going to say them now. Yep. But, I guess there's a certain point in time where you just can't unhear those things anymore. And I don't want my kid, whether they be, a little girl or a boy, to grow up thinking that they can't do something or that I can't do something because other people are saying, no, yeah, she's a woman, she can't be a tradie. I don't want my kid growing up thinking that they can't do anything they want because they can. So, yeah.
Yeah, it boils down to that we're just people. And a lot of the time we get put in these boxes which just are so unrepresentative of who we are. And it's not until, and it's really funny because everyone loves Ally. We go on site and everyone just absolutely froths Ally when they take the time to get to know her. And it's, you know, now being in this business for a little while, like people literally are waiting months to have their kitchen installed because they want it done by us.
Yeah.
Because we do our job so well. And it's because people have just gotten to know us. They spread the word. They say, you know what, these girls were actually fantastic. Like you should 100% go with them. And it's as simple as that. You just have to base it on the person.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have really good communication. Our admin's a complete gun. She's wicked. I think we bring some pretty cool things to it.
Yeah, we're just trying to throw out those boxes. Corporate, site, you know, gay, straight, woman, man. It's just, we're just construction workers.
What box do you think people put you in that you would like to debunk?
I mean, definitely the female box. All the time people say, and I know that it comes from a place of kindness and it's not meant to be malicious, but they say like, oh, you know, we got you girls because we just wanted to give you a go, or they'll walk into the room and they go, oh, you're doing such a great job. And you know it's a nice thing to say. They're saying it nicely. But at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're devaluing us.
Yes.
They're putting us on a different level because they don't feel the need to, when they have a male tradie in the house, to go, oh, you're doing a really great job. Or, you know, I got you out here to give you a go. It's really great to see you guys just having a go.
Girls a go.
Yeah, so it's like people are saying not quote unquote nice things, but it's from a place of internalized misogyny.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, thank you, don't say that.
Yeah. We're actually really good at our jobs. We don't need you to give us a go.
Yeah, so like we're doing the bare minimum, actually. Are we doing a good job? You've touched on it. Challenges that you face relating to your identity in the construction industry and how you navigate them. So I suppose people meet you the first time and they'll put you in these boxes, have these preconceived ideas. Then conversations kind of start happening and I'm sure more things come out in that way. You mentioned that you're very good at navigating those situations. Do you call it out in the moment if people say inappropriate things? Like, what's your general approach?
Honestly, no, we haven't. And we're over it. We've gotten to a point, I guess, in our lives, you know, where we're looking at our future. And I don't know if I'm really allowed to say this on camera, but when people call you, you know, a dyke or they say things like that, that internally infuriates me.
Are people saying that to your face?
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, a lot of the time we kind of hold our tongue because we come at it from a business point of view as well and we have a reputation to uphold. But I think really when you boil it down, it's we've been conditioned over such a long time through generations to say nothing. And, you know, Ally touched on it earlier. There comes to a point where you can no longer say nothing. You can't unhear it. You can't keep.
You start to internalize it and it changes your view on people and the world. And I hate when that happens, you know.
Have you ever felt the need to hide parts of yourself away because of that?
See, I'm stubborn, so no, but it just keeps happening.
I think it's probably not so much hiding, but more compensating. So particularly in what we do, like we go over everything and we make sure that everything is perfect and we want everything to be really good because, one, we get held to a different standard and we know we do, but we've also found that we get a lot more backlash because of it as well. And people feel a lot more confident coming after us and okay with coming after us for small things as opposed to our male counterparts where they can get away with the stuff that we've seen. Some of these people
say, oh, no, I don't want the confrontation with that.
No, we'll just let that slide. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
And they could be like
these are some pretty serious
things.
but they don't want the confrontation. They don't want to deal with that intimidating person. And because obviously we don't want to be like that, we don't want to go around intimidating people, we end up popping it sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably not so much hiding parts of ourselves, but overcompensating to avoid certain situations.
Yeah, interesting.
And walking into a room as well for me, like I'm covered in tattoos, and some people may find that intimidating, I guess. But I overcompensate, and I'm just super nice and make them feel super relaxed. But I'm on from the moment I start my day so that other people feel, at ease. Like I've got a shaved head, not from like the fact that I want that, but I, medically have to have that. But that can come across confronting. So I like to, put my best foot forward and be like, this is cool. We're here to do this, a really great job for you. And, but yeah, like I'm on as soon as I get there. I'm chatty and I'm talking and I'm making everyone feel happy.
Is that just who you've always been, or is that the person you've learned to be?
Definitely learned. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't like that as a kid. No. I was really reserved and timid in my shell, but I wouldn't really say that's me now.
No. You're definitely not in your shell.
No. I'm not in my shell.
Jason's like, is there a shell? Where is it?
that got
Get
ditched.
a new one?
Yeah.
So what is it like working together as a couple? How do you balance that personal and professional relationship, or is there no separation?
It's really hard for us to separate it.
Yeah.
We live it. We live and breathe Lady Tradie.
Yeah. It's our thing. But we also thrive on it. Like we love it. I mean, I'm like excited when I get to, get up and go to work with Days. Like
we're very lucky. Like obviously when people find out we're together, they go, oh my God, how do you do it? Like if I had to work with my wife or husband, I'd kill them. Like I could not do that. But we've never struggled with it. I think, like I said before, our strengths really complement each other. And
we're polar opposites. So what Daisy's really good at, like, I might be crap at and vice versa. Like, but we're like a power duo. And that's why the business has gone like, because we just...
Yeah. Not to blow our own horn, but we're the dream team.
Blow the horn. Blow it louder.
We do have time apart. Like we actively take time to ourselves as well, because that's important. So I go surfing religiously every weekend or every chance there's waves. Daisy does her art, so we take we take time apart. And when we come back together, we just keep cracking on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm one of those people who would say, I don't know how you work with your partner. I'm really happy for you guys that it does work.
He's gonna listen to this.
Might be on the next
part. What's your proudest moment as business owners?
Definitely employing more people.
Yeah, mine actually happened yesterday. So we were at our kind of orientation team induction for our new apprentice Cara, and we were all kind of sitting around just having a good chat. And I kind of just took a second to think, like a lot of people have dreams and aspirations, which sometimes aren't quite visible. But I'm sitting across from these three incredible women in their own right, and just visualizing my dream and everything that I wanted this business to be. And I was just blown away by what was in front of me. Just that after 8 years, and it didn't happen overnight. It's been a long slog, but it's every time it always gets
a little
better.
bit more.
Yeah.
And it's now forever growing.
We've got 4 incredible cabinet makers, and it's super exciting.
What's your goals for the business?
Sky's the limit.
Teams of all trades, multiple.
Like I could sit here, we could do a whole nother podcast on my dreams for this business, because teams. So we want to have a essentially at least one team in every trade sticking in the residential sector, because that's where we find the demand is. That's where we have the most impact. And, you know, we want it to be Australia-wide. We want Lady Tradies all over Australia. I want to build workshops to help young girls learn the skills, to get apprenticeships, to succeed and do really well on work trials, because that's one of the biggest barriers is impressing employers.
Yep.
We want to build houses. We just want to do everything.
We want to have so many number one Lady Tradie vans cruising around Adelaide.
Yeah.
And
We want to start, you know, programs, scholarships.
And when we put a job ad out, not just get, you know, one female tradie or apprentice qualified, whatever, but have 20 people applying and knowing that there's more women out there that have their qualification, like seeing more in the industry.
We've started the Tradeswomen Hub here in SA to build a network, like I was saying before, very disconnected. So we want to build networks, and we want this incredible village of both men and women, anyone in the industry who just want to be a part of it, to grow and to learn and to just be better and be better together. So we've
got over 50 members now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And it's very recent that we've started it. And, you know, quite a few people come to the catch-ups and everyone loves sitting there and just bouncing off each other. Like,
it's so nice to just sit and talk about relevant things that you're experiencing in your day-to-day work.
other people get.
Yeah. Like the last catch-up we were talking about work shorts, like work pants, and why they're so uncomfortable. And just like, just such mundane conversations, which are just like, yes, you get it.
But also like
merch.
Merch, 100%. We're going to have our own workwear line.
Fitted pants.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some socks soon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Great place to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sky's the limit. There's pretty much nothing we don't want to do.
Do you employ only women?
I mean, currently, yes, but that's not to say it will always be that way. So we come at it from, we want to give the opportunity, particularly apprenticeships, to women, because that's where the barrier is, that they can't get them. But we would love to have qualified men helping us train and develop these women, because that's where the experience is. So 100%, like, we would love to.
We've put job ads up, you know, for both men and women, but I suppose we just haven't had, you know, a man that we haven't found someone that wants to, you know, a man that wants to help us grow.
Yeah. So one thing that's really important to us is culture. So it's not just, you know, having someone experienced and able to do the role as it is on paper, but they want to work for number one Lady Tradie because they believe in it as much as we do. So we also don't want to sacrifice that side of the business to just find anyone who will be that role.
We want them to, you know, treat our apprentices, you know, kindly and all of that. So, yeah, and I guess we just haven't really had any men apply for the jobs. I don't know if,
Yeah, and I mean, thus far, it's been apprenticeship roles that we've been looking for. So, yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a fella that wants to come work for us one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be. And I'm sure all of the apprentices coming through your business are going to either stay with you forever or go out and do incredible things and spread your culture and word as well. So that's very exciting. What is something that someone has said to you that perhaps in the moment you didn't call out, but in hindsight are like, damn, I wish I'd said that, and I wish that I could make them understand?
Who's playing boss today? That's one.
Yeah, so we were on site and we had a delivery come out for us, and one of the builders on site walks in and says like, oh, your delivery's here, so which one of you wants to play boss lady?
You're like, we are the boss lady.
Like, no one's playing anything.
Yeah.
So, and it's small comments like that. And the tile comments, so we were purchasing just some gear to do a tiling job. from one of our suppliers, and they had some reps out, and he comes over and he goes, "Oh, how do you go lifting the really big tiles?" And, I kind of just like, "Oh, it's fine." I didn't, not an impactful comment or response. And I got in the car, I was like, damn it, I should have said that we lift 100-kilo bench tops.
But it's like, I just can't believe that anyone would think that we can't lift a tile. Like, just because we're women doesn't mean we're weak. Like, or that we don't have any muscles.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a long time now. Like,
yeah, or, when we have builders come in, because sometimes we work on sites with builders in new homes and that kind of thing, and they'll come in and they'll fine tooth comb.
They'll touch everything and pretend like they're looking for something.
Open things up and run their hands over everything, and you're just like, come on, man, we know what you're doing. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably those situations that we kind of just laugh off, or we just get on with our work, that it would be better to kind of say like...
Well, it'd be better to say something because otherwise people just keep doing the same shit. Yeah. No one learns, and no one likes being called out on their stuff. Like,
I've had a few of these couch conversations now, and something that's come up a couple times is people saying, "Oh, but they don't know unless they're told." And I've thought a lot about that, and I sit with it quite a bit. And I think, to us, it's so obvious. Like, why would you say that? Like, think it if you must, but why would you say it? And it does come down to they just don't realise, which is not an excuse. But I think what it means is that when the opportunity comes, and if we can't in the moment, that's fine. But in platforms like this, or reflective afterwards, or however, like, let's just say, look, here's an example of behaviour or something someone said to me in the moment, didn't handle it well because I was shocked and I wanted to get it over with, and it was awkward and I was being professional. But this is what I would have liked to have said. And this is perhaps what I hope someone else could say if they're in that situation. So just creating space to be able to do that. Because the moment's hard.
Yeah, and
really hard.
There's also a time and a place, and people don't, like you say, people don't like being called out. So it's all well and good telling people how they've hurt you or that what they've said isn't appropriate. But they also have to receive that information. And there's a time and a place to do that as well, so that it's best received to have the most impact.
Yes. That is such a good point. How do we get more of that out, do you think?
Trying to make people change.
Yeah.
Educate them.
I mean, therapy. But I'm not qualified in that, so.
Yeah, look, I honestly, I'm not sure. I definitely don't have the answers.
Exposure. I think it's stuff like this, when we do have the space to be able to talk about it, it's getting it out there and putting it in front of people. And, it might reach 1,000 people, and 1,000 of those people that have said those horrible things, and they go, oh, wow, yeah, that was, maybe I was a bit out of line. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I won't again.
Well, and, like I said before, as soon as they meet us and they have a conversation with us and they find out who we are, most people completely flip 180, and they're 100% respective and accepting of us in the industry and as tradeswomen. It's getting that, I guess. It's having those conversations in just a really casual setting and just a really honest kind of human way. It's not about, okay, we're here to teach you all a lesson. It's like, we're here to show you that we're just people.
What do you think people's biggest issue is with you or people like you and the business that you have before they get to know you? Like, what do you think is that stereotype or that preconceived idea that gets in the way in their own head? Is it that you're women? Is it that you're a couple? Is it that you have tattoos? Is it that they think you're not physically strong enough? Like, what do you think the problem is?
I think
it's definitely that we don't know what we're doing. So especially when I was on my own, they'd ring me up, they'd say, oh, is this number on Lady Tradie? Yeah. But are you qualified? Is it you who actually comes out and does the work? And then I'd rock up to their house and they go, oh, you're a girl. Like, as if it was some big secret. It's like
it's in the name. Hello.
I think it's been passed down as well through families, For instance, a father might teach his son how to use power tools, but he won't teach his, well, not all people do that, but, it's more common that he'll teach his son how to do something and that women don't do that. And then I guess over time that's just, clustered into this thing that, we're not meant to be in this space, and it really freaks people out.
We actually had one client ring us and say like, oh, I've got this job. I've had this guy come out. I got him from High Pages. He's completely botched it up. And, are you able to come fix it kind of thing? And we were kind of, the more and more we talked to him, the more we found out. And we're on a list of installers. You get about 4 or 5 different ones. And he said, oh, yeah, I got the list. I called the first 3 people, and then there were you and this other person who was a trade that wasn't a cabinet maker.
He admitted to not calling the women.
Yeah, so he's told us that he didn't go with us.
Yeah.
Of all the people on the list, we were the ones he didn't call.
Did you ask why?
No, again, one of those moments where you just like, whatever, we'll just let that one slide.
Daisy heard it. I was on the phone to him and she heard it, and she's like...
So, and instead of, because he's like, and the 3, I never heard from them. They never got back to me. So instead of contacting us, the 4th person on the list, he's gone to a completely different source of tradies on a higher page. Mm-hmm. And so it's that level of, they don't know what they're doing. So even though we're on a trusted installer list, there's still that barrier of, no, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, we are that scared of women.
Yeah.
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 Like we have these massive teeth or something.
I feel like if you had massive teeth, that would help you lift the tiles or something.
I don't know about that.
Like, I think about my teeth as like an elephant.
I'm like a walrus.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you're pitching them down. Anyway. It's a tangent we don't need. I think we've talked a lot about what the industry needs to become a more desirable place for women. I think there's support, there's education, there's gentle suggestions, there's things like this and other things like that. Is there anything else you would like to see the industry doing to support women?
Yeah, I think it's just, there's been a big surge in step 1 in getting women in. Mm-hmm. Now there has to be a big surge in keeping them.
I agree.
Small businesses, and seeing more women after their apprenticeship stay with the company or go out on their own or join us.
They spend 4 years learning these skills and developing all these incredible abilities, and then at the end of their apprenticeship, the support goes, the mentors go, the GTOs go, and then they're left on their own,
calling 120 places trying to get a job, and they've got their trade, and they still can't get in.
And then they go into the corporate roles because that's easier. Well, it's not easier, but it's
they're going to get their foot in.
To be alone on site is hard. So I think the next place we go is, how do we keep them? And then once we've kept them, how do we progress them forward?
Yeah. And how do we support them through life decisions and changes? And
how do we get them into the higher tiers of companies and into the big decision-making roles and that kind of thing?
Yeah. I can't wait to see you figure that out. And give us all the answer. Why did you agree to come on NAWIC Couch today?
One, like I said, I love sitting around and talking about my business. Mm-hmm. But Lady Tradie isn't just about supporting women in our business, it's supporting women in this industry. So whether you work for us or not, we want you to know we're here for you. And much like NAWIC's the same. You're all, we're all volunteers here. Mm-hmm. No one's doing this because we're being told to or we're being paid to. We genuinely care about people in this industry.
And you're pretty cool to talk to. So we were like, wow, as if we're going to pass.
Rachel's doing it. Oh, we're in.
Yeah. Stop it, I'm blushing. Is there anything else Is there anything else that's really important to you that you're passionate about that you would like included in today's chat that we haven't already talked about?
Just don't give up, you know, to all the young girls, like even mature age apprentices, anyone, like, you know, you just keep persisting because you'll get there. And, you know, get through your apprenticeship, start your own if you want to. Try it, you know, find other like-minded people. Join the Tradeswomen Hub. Come have a chat with us.
Reach out, find a community and get the support.
Don't give up on it because it's a really awesome gig to do. Like it provides you freedom and flexibility. And yeah, it's really cool.
This industry needs trailblazers.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be the change that you want to see. It's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, it can be really impactful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This conversation was recorded and produced on Kaurna land. We pay our respects to the traditional owners of this land and waterways, as well as the elders, past, present, and emerging. We extend this respect to all Indigenous peoples of this continent and its adjacent lands, recognising their cultures as the oldest continuous living cultures in human history. We recognise the deep spiritual connections and relationship Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have with community, as well as the lands, oceans, waterways, air and sky. We acknowledge the land we live, work and play on always was and always will be Aboriginal land.